time it's going to be on Scion, and it's going to be kind of a doozy, so I'm going to try and explain it. So first of all, this is a very expensive build, definitely not a starter, but you could do a starter of it. It's just going to be a lot weaker off the start. As you can see, there's a lot of expensive flasks. There's the Tukahama shield, which is expensive, and stuff like Rigwall's Curse. The build is pretty much centered around Rigwall's Curse, and it turns this into a crit build, which allows you to get a ton of damage out of it, and you basically pick up the claw crit nodes, as you see. And we're a little bit over budget on the points right now, but that's just because I was moving some stuff around. Should be pretty easy to trim some stuff off and still retain values that are similar to these. As you'll also notice, the allocation is kind of fucked up because this is before the PoE got updated. So I just put what I needed on the Ruby Flask here. Now, the champion node is what we're playing around, and it gives Taunt and Intimidate, which is kind of insane, and they apply to your totems. So, Taunt checked off, Intimidate checked off, that's 20% more. And then, on top of that, we take the Hierophant node that just gives us an extra totem. It's not allocated here entirely. The rest of it is kind of mind over matter stuff that would be nice if you had Moam. You won't have Moam if you take Tukahamas, but you don't really... You can either choose to not take Tukahamas, or you can. It's more damage if you do, obviously. It also gives a fair chunk of life. It's a pretty decent shield, and having the 300 armor per totem is not too bad when you have 5 totems out, because we're going to have 1 from Tukahama, 1 from this, 1 from this, and then, or 4 totems, that's what it is, yeah, 4 totems, and then the base totem. So this is pretty decent damage, because, yeah, it's going to be like 1.6 mil to Shaper. It's pretty much all physical, because since we have Blood Magic, we can't really use any auras. If you want, you can put a Essence Worm in here and put, like, Hatred on there, but missing these rings, over here, sorry. Missing these rings loses you a lot of damage. I normally don't like to put stuff like steel rings in a build, but since we're using face breakers, I feel like having steel rings is almost sort of mandatory, because that's like your entire bit of base damage. The other problem with this is getting resist. You can do stuff like replace the boots, for example, because, you know, they just give a little bit of extra fizz to attacks, but it's hard to find res in this build, unless, especially if you're going the, what do you call it here, the Bringer of Rain route, which is the easiest way to get a cheap 6-link, and it gives a lot of nice added fizz to attacks, but it's obviously going to make it a lot harder to get res. If you use just a normal helm and a normal body armor, it's a lot easier. You can also use a normal body armor, and then on fights like Shaper where there's not going to be any fizz damage, you can swap in an Abyssus right here and get a ton more damage, because we get the crit multi, and we get the extra fizz to attacks, which is just an insane amount. So yeah, it's pretty ridiculous in the right circumstances, for sure. Tons of flasks, obviously. The jewels are mostly looking for some fizz damage and accuracy, because the build really struggles in accuracy. If you had like GG fizz rings, you could also get accuracy on here. But as you can see, it does pretty good damage here. I'll show you the links as well. Just Conk Effect, throw a meme in there, damage on full life, Warchief Totem. And then you have the other things already in the item. And those would basically stay the same, I think. I'm not sure if you'd use faster attacks. You might use like something else, like crit multi or something. I'd have to actually test it if you had a 6-link. But yeah, you can mess around with this all you want. It's a pretty solid build. It's just nice because it has the taunt, really. And another thing you can do is you can come down here and you can even get the 1% of damage dealt by your totems is leached. The only problem here is that making use of the Herald or the Cover in Ash thing is kind of hard, because you need to convert to fire, and if you convert to fire, then you're going to lose some damage on Shaper, because you're not going to have like a ton of pen and stuff like that. But it's really up to you. You could use the other shield that converts 25% fizz to fire. It's also just kind of generally hard converting physical to fire, unless you're using like a specific weapon, like Zoph's Nurture or something. So kind of a pain in the ass, but you can play around with that. So that's pretty much the build, and yeah, as you can see, we take advantage of the path of the duelist here to get these nice duelist nodes. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Talk to you guys later.